Hey guys, Eddie here from Plonk. Hope you're all doing well today. Right, we are going to go straight into a Plonk futuristic kind of TRON kind of into the void mini golf course idea that I was sketching up the other day. Who knows if we'll ever going to get the chance to make it, but sod it, let's do it anyway. So what are we doing here? Procreate, again, love it. Using the perspective grid tool just to lay out some shapes. I'm drawing up from a 2D floor plan that I did on Vectorworks, and I'm just extruding all the lines up, having the center of perspective to the middle of the drawing, so all the lines are coming at us, so we're looking at it bird's eye view. So I've quickly sketched in the 9 holes in there. Some of them are pretty standard Plonk holes, and we will just be mostly today looking at theming ideas that people can have instead of just the tiki courses. Sometimes we have to give people a bit of an idea to get their creative juices flowing. So off we go, sticking in some buildings on the walls there and doing a bit of a soft airbrush mix of pink to orange, just a nice sort of sci-fi sunset. We're going to put some great big arrows going down the middle like the starter tracks for a car race track, and we're going to have big tower blocks, some sort of Akira looking backdrop as a cityscape, and try and really push this 80s future aesthetic throughout this course. We will have, there's some pink grids going on the walls, love it. Think sort of Knight Rider, think that sort of science fiction that never really came come 2020. We still live in this sort of pretty boring, normal, grey concrete world. If only we lived in these mad, fluorescent, futuristic imaginations that you see in cinema. But there we go, let's try and do it on a golf course. So we are working with quite a small space here. It's about 100 square meters, which is generally speaking the kind of size that people come to us saying, oh, we've got this room, we're not quite sure what we could do with it, do you think we could fit a golf course in it? And we try and answer that as a yes, of course, as long as it's still a good solid 9 holes. It's still a challenge. We don't think that they have to be huge holes, as long as they're great fun games and they're a challenge and something different and good value for money. So we are there sticking in some more gradients on the walls, but using the soft airbrush there. As I said, I'm using Procreate. I don't use a great deal of different brushes, but I find that the ones that they offer you are a good starting block, and you can adapt and edit them as you go to suit your preferences. So I've just done an overlay there of purple light that's supposed to embody the UV lights that we would use across the room to really make these graphics pop. These graphics are most likely to be done on the computer, which would be vectorized and then printed at a large scale format. There's a couple of really good companies in the UK who offer really great printing for fluorescent settings, so we work with those companies to we design the artwork, they do the printing, we install on site, and you get a really high quality of finish, and means that you can change it up if you like, and not sort of have to spend a long time on site painting. You can just do the print and get a really good crisp image from it. Obviously the rest of the golf course we paint by hand, and we use fluorescent paints to do so. We also would be using, I guess, some manner of fluorescent astroturf on this course if we could find it. There are some suppliers who make it, so it is an option out there, guys, if you're looking for something which is super popping, not just dark floors. So at the moment I'm just putting in details. I'm putting in details around the buildings. I'm putting in some darker blocks to contrast with the lighter lines and gradients. You might see over in the middle of the picture at the top there is a yellow and orange hole that's got a perspex piece above it with a bull run that runs down it. I'm going to start doing the detail work on that now. So you've got a lift hill that goes up, and the gameplay is not actually so much on the floor, it's more about getting the ball across the track using pulleys above head height. So there's always some sort of different gameplay that we could put in to make a space interesting. We've done it many times in the past, and it's always these creative constraints have led to making some really fun game pieces which really think outside the box a bit. So in goes some clouds, yellow clouds for the sunset. Again, I'm using just the cloud tool there on Procreate, setting the opacity down a bit, and you doing a few different coloured layers, and then using the smudge tool or the general opacity tool just to lower the general opacity of the layer. You can see I've rubbed away some of the arrows on the floor. I've done that using the rubber tool, setting it to a soft airbrush and a medium opacity, and started taking away from some of the lines just to break them up a little bit. Okay, going into the front room there, I'm painting things green, again with the grid on the floor. That's the starter grid, as if we're on a racetrack. And there we have hole number 9, which has got a jump, some maybe big hazard arrows. Think Wipeout, the video game, think F-Zero, these kind of fun, wicked, sci-fi, futuristic racer games, which now are super retro. I think it's just such a great aesthetic for something fun like mini golf. Picture the little balls whizzing around the tracks like light bikes in Tron. So in goes a layer of detail there, sticking in windows, sticking in details onto the buildings, and tidying up. So the middle section in the right hand side, just above the yellow hazard lines on the floor, that would be a club pickup where you could pick up your clubs and balls when you start and also drop them off at the end. The course would have the flow, it's 9 holes. The longest holes are the hill hole and the loop hole, which is in the middle, which hasn't been fully illustrated yet, but that one is so I'd say about 6 meters long, those holes are, and the big guy, green guy in the corner, is probably about 2 meters wide and about 3.5 meters long, so he fits snugly in the corner there. If you look to the hole number 1, which has got red bumpers around it on the right hand side of the screen, that we have got a little bridge that traverses across an infinity mirror. So this would be a prop make whereby we make an infinity mirror, so it looks like the ball is going across an infinite sort of dropping layers and stories and stories and stories, and we would have another one of these infinity mirrors just above it that you can see, which is next to the blue loophole. And that's a full height infinity mirror, so when you look at it you can't see yourself, you can just see this never-ending tunnel of light. So I'll share a link to one of our other mates that is a really good example of that. So little details like that, sort of not just paintworks, not just lights. We can have smokes, we can do projection mapping to project onto the walls, perhaps above head height so they're never obscured, and make this a really cool sci-fi future space. Stick a great soundtrack on the back of it and you're having a really great time in there and in another world entirely. Courses like this are something that we're going to start making more of. We have done lots of UV courses in the past, and now that we are settling into more permanent locations, we will be changing how we operate and what we design and what we make to make some really cool new looking courses to really grab the eye. And of course, if you're looking for commissions, we're set designers. Anything is imaginable. We've built spaceships on Mars, we've built castles in fantasy lands, we've built all kinds of things. So get in touch, drop us a line, and let's get thinking together. Cheers guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and catch you next time.